The Passaic County Prosecutor's Office takes cases of domestic violence very seriously. We realize that family violence can impact victims physically, financially, emotionally, and spiritually. It is our goal to provide you with an overview of what you might expect and with whom you might interact with when reporting an act of domestic violence.
Domestic violence is one of the 19 crimes committed by someone 18 years or older or an emancipated minor with whom you have a relationship. The types of relationship considered as domestic violence are current or former spouse, current or former household member, a person with whom the victim has a child in common, a person with whom the victim anticipates having a child in common, and a person with whom the victim has a current or former dating relationship. Domestic violence includes the following acts: homicide, assault, terroristic threats, kidnapping, criminal restraint, false imprisonment, sexual assault, criminal sexual contact, lewdness, criminal mischief, burglary, criminal trespass, harassment, stalking, robbery, contempt of a domestic violence order, cyber harassment, and any other crime involving risk of death or serious bodily injury. One of your first encounters after an act of domestic violence will most likely be your local police officer that responds to the incident or takes your report. In Passaic County, the local police department is the lead agency that investigates domestic violence crimes that occur in their town. A Passaic County Prosecutor's Office detective is also assigned to work with the assistant prosecutor to help prepare criminal cases. You may speak with a Passaic County Prosecutor's Office detective on the phone or when meeting with a prosecutor. A trained domestic violence response team or DVRT volunteer may be available to speak with you at the police department.
Domestic Violence Response Team, or DVRT, members are volunteers from the community. Each member is required to complete a 40 to 60-hour training provided by the Passaic County Women's Center and the local police department. The volunteers are supervised by the Passaic County Women's Center. During their training, the volunteers learn methods for dealing with domestic violence issues, sexual assault, neglect, and abuse of the elderly and disabled. They are available to meet with victims at the police department to provide emotional support and information about resources available in the community to help victims.
There is also a full-time victim witness advocate assigned to the Passaic County Prosecutor's Office Domestic Violence Unit. The advocate assigned to domestic violence is a trained professional who can provide information and assistance to domestic violence victims and their families throughout the criminal justice process. The Passaic County Women's Center also has advocates that assist domestic violence victims. These trained professionals work for Passaic County Women's Center, an agency located right outside the family court to assist with restraining orders.
A domestic violence restraining order is an order of protection issued by a family court judge to protect a victim of domestic violence from her abuser. The orders are preventative measures to protect victims from any future act of domestic violence. The orders provide for no contact with the victim and possibly other named relevant parties, such as a family member or roommate. The order also bars the abuser from going to the residence or workplace of the victim. After obtaining a temporary restraining order, or a TRO, there will be a hearing in the family court where a judge will decide whether to make the order permanent or issue a final restraining order, an FRO. This hearing is separate from any criminal charges that might be filed against the abuser. Crime victims, including victims of domestic violence, do not have the authority to drop criminal charges once they are filed. What this means is that if they choose to dismiss a restraining order, it will not result in the dismissal of the criminal charges.
When criminal charges are filed, the prosecutor's office, just the state, handles the case and you are considered a witness. An assistant prosecutor, an attorney employed by the prosecutor's office, is assigned to handle the case.
More serious crimes are heard in the Superior Court, located at 77 Hamilton Street in Patterson. These would include first, second, third, and fourth degree crimes, and include crimes such as aggravated assault, sexual offenses, physical or sexual abuse of a child, and homicide. It also includes attempts to commit these crimes. The municipal court, located in the town where the charges were filed, handles disorderly persons offenses, motor vehicle violations, and ordinance violations. Disorderly persons offenses include simple assault, harassment, and criminal mischief.
A crime victim may be eligible for a U visa. The U visa is set aside for victims of certain crime types who have suffered mental or physical abuse and are helpful to law enforcement or government officials in the investigation or prosecution of criminal activity. Passaic County Prosecutor's Office has an advocate available to assist domestic violence victims throughout the process of any criminal prosecution. This includes referring and linking victims to other resources within our community. Passaic County Women's Center is our lead domestic violence victim service agency that assists victims by maintaining a 24-hour hotline, offering counseling services, emergency temporary shelter, and assistance and information about the restraining order process. There are other agencies in the county such as Waffle House and Jewish Family Service that provide specific services to victims of domestic violence and their children. The Passaic County Prosecutor's Office advocate will work with victims on locating the services most appropriate to them.